So it turns out I might be very, very wrong about this car market, and it might be way worse than I actually even anticipated. So now what's going on? Well, I'm a used car dealer. I sell cars that are $5,000 and under. I know a lot of you know that already, but we just went through tax time, and usually during this time period, we don't have cars sitting here anymore. We are completely out of cars, and as you can see, we don't have a ton of cars. I've got a lot of holes out here in my lot. We've sold through a lot of our inventory, but this is a weird sight for us at the end of tax time because usually we have 0 cars. I can show you a clip of last year. It's about the same time of year that I'm running this video right now, where you can see there's 0 cars here on my lot. But here's the weird thing that's happened to us. So we've sold through all this inventory, and usually what happens is I go to the auction and then prices are just absolutely crazy and we're not able to buy any more vehicles. But that's not what's happened this year. Throughout this whole tax time, I've actually been able to still buy a lot of vehicles while we're selling them like crazy. And while that's weird, is that's telling me that a lot of these other car dealers are not doing the same kind of volumes that we are. They're not getting hit like we have. Now, it might just be an element of, okay, maybe this tax time is bad, and it's bad for a lot of these car dealers, but the reason why we still had a good tax time is because we have that price point of $5,000 and under, and not a lot of other car dealers can actually get to that price point. So maybe there was actually just that price point that we had to hit to actually get the money that was going through from these tax refunds. Now, what I will say is we have been able to buy, and in a minute or so, I'll go down here and actually show you some of the stuff that we've been able to buy and how much we're paying. One thing that I will say is that the cars that we have been paying, we are having to pay a little bit more than usual. I would say probably about $500 average more per car. But even with that, I'm still willing to pay that to have inventory sitting on my lot right now, because there still is a little bit of money in the system, but not a lot. It's just very weird because this year I'm going to be able to have inventory on my lot all through tax time, all through the other side of tax time, and this is something that I've never been able to say before. All right, so we got to point this out, because usually when we make bad purchases or we miss something, it's always my fault. And today I want to show you something that's Alex's fault. Look at this. This is a massive dent in the back of this Jeep. But that's not the worst part. Alex was like, you know what? I always look for rust on the bottom of the car, but you don't think about actually looking on the top. It's paint that's been cracked off the top of it, then the water sits on it. We could probably pull all the paint off of it.
Could. It's already started for us. So.
The good thing, though, is it's a 2006 Jeep Cherokee. It's got 140,000 miles, and we're in at $2,000. We're not going to make like the $1,200 that we would want to make, the $1,000 that we want to make on the car. We're probably going to have to post this thing at like $2,500 and pray that someone comes and buys it. And then we're going to have to say whenever they come in here, hey, did you see the roof? Because we didn't.
Whoopsie.
But anyway, so I'm having fun with him. Alex is my cousin. If you guys don't know, he's also my mechanic. He buys a lot of cars from me. We're like brothers. We've grown up together our whole life. So this is how usually I'm the one that's getting this kind of treatment after I buy a car. I just don't show you guys a lot of that, but I get to actually point this out today. So it's a nice fun time we're having, but yeah, boo-boo on our part right there. All right, so here's the Jeep Cherokee that we did buy that the roof is fine on it. But this is a 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokee, 172,000 miles. That's about the range that we typically buy. I know a lot of you, sometimes I don't give the miles whenever I'm showing a car. Just know that every one of the vehicles that we buy, now that one over there that I just showed you, 141,000 miles. Typically, we're not buying anything with that low of mileage. The reason we're able to get that one, obviously, because the roof is, about said a bad word, the roof is messed up. But that's why we don't buy stuff with that low mileage. We can't buy it cheap enough to be able to sell it for $5,000 and under. I know a lot of you out there saying, okay, well, aren't the cars rusted, disintegrated by that? No, we're not in a rust belt. We're in central North Carolina, so all the frames, even if it's got 200,000 miles, even if it's 15 years old, frames can still look brand new, no problem with them. So we can buy stuff with high mileage just like that. Obviously, we still have to check them out, because cars that have 200,000 miles are going to have more problems than a car that has 100,000 miles. So we have to do our due diligence before we actually buy a car. This one's a 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokee. We sell them very, very well. We've got $2,600 is what we bought this car for. Our buyer fee, what we pay the auction to actually bid at that auction, is $250. And so we got right around $3,000 when everything's said and done. Nope, $28.75 to be exact. I'm going all over the place here. So this is probably going to be a $4,000 car. With things slowing down, maybe we only get $3,500 out of it. We're still going to have these cars that we're bringing out right now, try to price them to where we're making $1,000, $1,200, still trying to hit a home run. But as the market's getting softer, we're going to go back to our old pricing structure. And actually, I'll tell you about that right now. So with consumers getting a little bit weaker right now, with less money in the system, what we're going to actually do right now is go back to how we were pricing cars before tax time hit, or before we were actually loading up for tax time. And what that means for us is that every 2 weeks, we're going to do significant price drops on every single one of our cars, in the case of about $500. So what we do is we let the market actually tell us where the price needs to be. We'll buy a car, we'll price it to hit a home run. That might be $1,200. That might be, if it's super nice, making $1,500 on the car. But if we go through 2 weeks and the market tells us that this is not a good price or not a desirable car, and the way that the market does that for us is that we don't get any leads on it, we don't get any calls, we don't get any test drives, we don't get any offers. If we don't get anything like that, then we'll drop it by $500. Another 2 weeks goes by, the market continues to tell us this is not a good purchase, this is not a good car, this is something that's way too expensive. We'll drop it again by $500. So you can do the math. Then we get to the place where we're just about breaking even. Hopefully we'll never see 6 weeks on a car, because then we get to a place where we're usually losing money on it. So my car dealership will usually turn and burn cars in about a 14-day span. So that means in most cars they're getting one markdown and then we're selling them. So if we start a car off where we're making $1,300, $1,400, $1,500, we'll drop the car to where we're making $8,000, $9,000. That's usually where we live, and that's usually where the car sells. So that's what we do. That's our price structure, and we're going back to our normal price structure now, because as far as I'm concerned, tax time is done. So I'm gonna point out one more car that we bought recently, and then I'll tell you what I've been hearing from other car dealers too that leads me to believe that this tax season has not been a very good one. But this is a 2011 Subaru Outback, and we paid $2,500 for it. We've got a $285 buyer fee. So we got like $2,800, $2,810 is what it says on my sheet that we have in this car. Probably no problem, $4,000 car. We've been able to sell a lot of these Subarus, and we've been buying a lot more. I mean, there's another Subaru over there. I think we've got one sitting back there, and I've got still a lot for sale. At one point, we had like 14, 15, 16 Subarus for sale on my car dealership. They sell very well for us, so we try to buy them when we see them. But yeah, I'm going to continue this. So we've actually picked up not another auction, but there's a big Subaru dealer that started to sell a lot of their inventory off at one of the auctions that I go to. Now, they're a new car store, so it's not like they're selling new Subarus and that's what I can buy, but people who like Subarus are going to go buy another new Subaru from the Subaru store, so they trade in their old Subarus. So this has been a big influx of what we've been able to have as far as Subarus go, because this one dealer has been able to bring like an extra 150 cars every single week. And now they're a big dealership group, but one of their biggest sellers in their dealership group is their Subaru store. So that's why we've been seeing this big uptick, and that's just the way it happens. If we would acquire like a new Toyota store at one of our auctions, then we would see an influx of Toyotas. It's just the way that our auctions fall, the area that we're in. We have a really big volume Subaru dealer who gets a lot of Subaru trade-ins, and that means I'm going to be able to buy a lot more Subarus. Luckily for us, I really like them, so that's a good change for us. And as we do more of these videos around my lot, you'll start seeing a lot more Subarus, because I really like them. So now I'm going to the auctions, and obviously all of us dealers, we talk when we go to these auctions, and we're all saying, hey, you seeing tax money? Yeah, we've been crazy for a week, and so we're here buying more cars because we need more cars. Same conversation that I typically have every single year, but this year it only happened for like 1 week. And then the next week, in the last few weeks that I've actually been talking to a lot of these dealers, are like, yeah, we saw a little bit, but it's not been crazy here lately. And this is, I think, one of the big reasons why we've been able to go in and actually buy cars, because of a lot of these dealers, yeah, they probably saw that initial bump, and that initial bump is always the biggest, because those people that get their money instantly just like that, and that a lot of times they'll take loans from a lot of these companies to get their money very fast. They're not, how do I put this? Trying to find the right words. They're not very wise with their money. So they will spend it on the first car that they see. And this is the money that you have to get as a car dealer, because that's going to be the biggest wave. These people, they just want to buy a car. They don't want to go to a lot of places. They don't want to do research. They just want to go to the first place that they think is the deal that they want, the car that they want, and they'll just buy it. So you got to get that money right in that first week. And every other car dealer I talked to, yeah, they saw that big bump right in the beginning, but then it didn't last very long. And usually it will last 3 weeks. It'll last until about the time frame that I'm talking about right now, today. And then it'll disappear. But it seems like it disappeared way earlier. And it could be a factor that just everything costs more right now. Hearing that a lot, the news, everything right there. It could be uncertainty in the market. I would say not so much there for me, and for the customers that we're talking about, because these customers, I don't think they care about the actual market to begin with. They care about higher prices. They care about their grocery bill. They care about how much they're paying for gas. But as far as stock markets are concerned, as far as uncertainty on where their invested money's going, like, they don't have money that they've invested, right? So that's not a factor. That's not something that I'm concerned about from this crowd of people that are actually buying these cars right now. It probably just boils down to they're just at their limit of what they have, and they get this extra cushion of money. So maybe they just had to spend it on a lot of their bills, maybe that they were already behind on. And we just saw a worse time. Even if there was more money in the system from what we heard that there was going to be, maybe they were just so far in debt from credit cards that they had to extend themselves, so they just had to pay them down. So that could be a factor too. But I won't say it's good news for my car dealership, but it's definitely bad news for a lot of the other car dealerships. The reason why it could potentially be good news for us is that we were able to sell through a lot of inventory. We're still able to have inventory right now, and then the crash on the other side of the wall of tax refunds for a lot of these dealers should be bigger this year, because a lot of the dealers went and paid money after that first week and loaded up a lot of cars, and now they're not going to cut prices yet. So they're not going to sell cars, so they're going to slowly start disappearing from these auctions. So that means for us, the prices should start to go down quicker this year than they have in the last few years. And that means that we can buy inventory that we can sell for a lot cheaper. Now, here's the worry though for my car dealership, and this is why we have to plan it right now. We need to be more aggressive actually selling cars. We need to be more aggressive cutting our prices right now, because I don't want to get stuck with this inventory, because it could be that, okay, this Subaru right here that we were selling for $5,000, and we probably paid $3,500 to $3,800 for it, somewhere there. Maybe we have $4,000 in it. But 3 weeks from now, if we have that crash on the other side from the wholesale prices going down from dealers not buying cars, this car might be $2,500 in just a few weeks. So that means I'm gonna be able to buy it, go in and buy it for for $2,500, and then I can then sell this same Subaru for $3,500 to $4,000. So that means if I bring that thing in here and I haven't lowered this price, that car is going to be directly competing with this car that I have way too much money into. I don't want to be competing with myself. So we have to roll these cars out of here as quickly as possible. We have to drop our prices and not get stuck with inventory that I have sitting on my lot right now.